And I am okay, even as I speak for the party, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But I would actually love to put this in context. What the other parties actually raised that, but it's important, Trevor, to let you know, I heard you in your scripting say that to allow even fringe parties, there is no such thing as a fringe party, because if you know and have looked at the Political Parties Act, there is a set threshold that is actually for everybody, that ODM has to meet the same threshold of registration the way DAP would meet, or DP would meet, or even ANC, for example. So there is no fringe party. Out of about the 89 political parties that we have, all those parties are registered under one law. They meet the same standard. So there's no fringe party. And knowing too well how the attrition happens in this particular parliament, no one really can come out and say that this is how things go out. So it was important that you clear out that. But talking about nominations, parties are not coming up with rules that do not exist. Those rules are actually in those laws and nomination rules that we all submitted to ORPP and then were certified and then submitted to IEBC. So if nominations are actually going to be the beginning that makes things go down, like for example what somebody was saying, that if ODM realizes that what watabebeana panga Nyanza, and yet you can talk out and agree. If anyone feels like they are aggrieved, why didn't they move to DAP, for example? You know, like for us in DAP, democratic, the word democracy starts, the Democratic Action Party. In other parties, all other parties you find, except for DP, all other parties, democracy comes huko nyuma. But we are the party where, first of all, democracy comes first, and then we follow in with action. So, the squabbles you see around here, I think, is just for people looking for space. Yeah. And you see how quickly it worked out, because Azimio is a big house. And you do not expect that in a big house, then everything is going to work seamlessly. This is politics and not a German machine where things work seamlessly. And like I said earlier on, the business of politics is serious business, and it's quite difficult, because even God had to actually sublet to men. He was around here and he realized that human beings were quite difficult. So those then who preside over the affairs of men have got the blessings of God. So I see the nomination. I've had my sister here speak about boardrooms and everything else. You see, I don't know where people get these things that political parties are clueless. Political parties are not clueless. They actually know. You can actually feel the temperature. And sometimes we simply are wasting resources going down there. Of course, there is the closure. The party primaries in themselves are not very democratic, because you are limiting it to a few people. If you, for example, we in DAP are doing nominations today. Today is a working day. The Nairobi nominations, Garissa and other places. So today is a working day. So how many people who actually support me or support DAP will be available today? Not very many people will be available today. So if we then synonymize democracy with party primaries, we also are getting it wrong, because parties primarily exist to win seats. And if they see that you are not going to win a seat, for example, it will actually be a folly for that particular party to allow you to go to the ballot in the name of democracy. But then I need to actually say this. We've got about 89 political parties that exist. I think about 82 will be fielding candidates. If you feel that you must not run, if you feel like this party is not actually good with you, you have got the option of actually shifting and going to another party. You should have actually done that earlier. Yeah. Two, there's still 10 to 14 days for you to actually run as an independent. So there is room, there is sufficient room. And democracy is not geometrical. Okay. Like, you know, it's not a perfect circle, it's not a rectangle or a triangle. So, as in, these issues are actually fluid. You find ways of how you fit in. So, the next 10 days are actually going to be critical for this election, for the simple reason that sometimes, you know, this is when political parties teach aspirants a little fear of God. Yeah. That's why you hear them sounding the way they sound here and what you see elsewhere. That you actually could be very close to your party leader, and all of a sudden when nominations are there, the party leader is not picking your call. The official are not actually available. As we go to nominations, aspirants are learning a little fear of God. Okay. And there is proper character development. Yeah. But that also speaks to the choices that people make when you get to a party. You know, you show up for a party at the last moment. And yeah, you just show up as an aspirant. There are the people who have put in their resources, they put in time, they've put in work for the political party. Yeah. Sometimes the party looks at, we have got long-term goals. Okay. You've come here, probably you have got a little bit of money. And I love the idea that parties now are actually scoffing at money. That is one of those good things. Why? So we which one do you go for, Maliba? Consensus or ballot? It's a mixed bag, because in the nomination rules, a lot of political parties have got up to 3 ways of going about it. Nominations by bringing in people. Sometimes political parties allow universal suffrage, where anyone who is actually registered as a voter in that particular area can vote for the other person. Sometimes there's consensus. And then number 4, there is the direct nomination, depending depending on what the party feels. They can actually do it scientifically, and sometimes it's difficult to please party scientists.
Okay.
You know, party scientists might not be necessarily serious scientists.
Let me bring in Ambassador.